How to obtain a work permit for undocumented immigrants in the United States. Do you know? Although undocumented workers have no right to work in the United States, they are still protected from discrimination, retaliation, and wage deductions under New York state labor laws. Federal law requires immigrants to hold an Employment Authorization Document, EAD, or work permit in order to legally work in each state. However, undocumented immigrants are unable to obtain relevant documents due to their immigration status. Other categories of immigration that are legally allowed to enter the United States, such as tourist visa holders, are also not allowed to work in the United States. When recruiting, employers also need to use the I-9 form to verify the qualifications of the candidate workers, which determines whether the employee is allowed to work in the United States by checking their work card or green card. This process means that unauthorized workers are unlikely to be hired. However, in order to make a living, undocumented workers have started working in industries that accept cash payments, commonly known as under the table or off the books. We interviewed immigration and labor law experts to understand the ways to obtain work permits in the United States and the rights of unlicensed workers. Can undocumented immigrants find jobs in the United States? Undocumented immigrants without work cards cannot work in the United States, but they can still find jobs through informal means. Unlicensed immigrants account for 4.4% of the U.S. workforce, mainly concentrated in industries such as construction, catering, and retail. According to this ratio, the number of undocumented workers in New York is approximately 474,500. Many undocumented workers are employed in the cash economy, as long as employees declare their income to the U.S. Internal Revenue Service and pay the corresponding taxes on their income, then, engaging in cash work is not necessarily illegal. Do I need to pay taxes if I receive compensation in cash? People who receive compensation in cash also need to pay taxes like other workers. However, individuals without a social security number must apply for a personal tax identification number, ITIN, in order to use it to file taxes with the National Taxation Bureau. Can I work with only a personal tax number? No, a personal tax number does not grant employees the right to work in the United States. Its role is only to replace a social security number when paying taxes. You need a work card to work legally in the United States. Are undocumented immigrants eligible to obtain work cards? A work card or work permit is proof that an immigrant is allowed to work in the United States. Certain categories of immigrants can obtain work cards during specific time periods and must be updated as required, such as DACA recipients and political asylum seekers. To apply for a work card, you need to submit the I-765 form specifically for applying for an employment permit. Unfortunately, undocumented immigrants cannot apply for a work permit. The person who can apply for a work card is an immigrant who is waiting for approval for legal permanent or temporary resident status. Are asylum seekers eligible to obtain a work card? According to federal law, asylum seekers are not considered undocumented immigrants, but before applying for asylum, they face similar obstacles to undocumented immigrants when searching for jobs. Asylum seekers belong to one of the categories of immigrants who can work in the United States, but they must submit an I-765 form 150 days after submitting an asylum application, and can only receive a work card if it has not been processed 180 days after submitting an asylum application. Harold Solis, Deputy Legal Director of the immigration organization Make the Road New York, said, "The I-765 form is the core application that needs to be submitted. To submit this form, applicants must also indicate whether it needs to be submitted based on pending asylum applications, and must indicate that they have submitted the asylum application in the correct manner." Does this mean that asylum seekers can work after 150 days? After applying for asylum for 150 days or 6 months, asylum seekers can submit a work permit application, which may take 2 to 5 months for the U.S. Customs and Immigration Service to process. Each case is different, some may be processed quickly, while others may not. The United States Citizenship and Immigration Service may also experience delays in processing applications or application backlog, which may result in longer approval processes. This is a long journey that cannot be completed in just 6 months. It may take a long time as it is not a separate asylum procedure. How much does it cost to apply for a work card? The fee for Employment Authorization Application Form I-765 is $410. What if I am found doing black work? Employers must use the I-9 form to verify whether employees are eligible to work in the United States, and may face criminal charges and fines of up to $3,000 per such employee for hiring unauthorized workers. Rights of unlicensed workers under New York state labor law. Although undocumented workers have no right to work in the United States, they are still protected from discrimination, retaliation, and wage deductions under New York state labor laws. This means that workers are entitled to a minimum wage of $15 per hour in New York City and $13.20 per hour in other parts of New York. After working 40 hours per week, they can also receive an overtime pay of 1.5 times their original hourly rate. In addition, in 2021, New York Governor Kathy Hochul signed the A3412A bill, which made it illegal to threaten others by reporting their immigration status to immigration enforcement agencies. Although undocumented workers do not have a legal work permit, once they work for their employer, they have the right to receive compensation for that job. Undocumented status does not affect the protection of federal or state labor laws for them. Do undocumented workers have the right not to have their wages deducted? Yes, undocumented workers have the right not to have their wages deducted and can file lawsuits and complaints against employers who violate relevant laws. The 2011 Wage Theft Prevention Act, WTPA, provides detailed regulations on the rights of workers, expanding the scope of protection from retaliation and ensuring the clarity of payroll and wage records. Although salary deductions are illegal in New York, they still occur frequently in immigrant communities. It is recommended that workers write down their weekly salary, even in cash. If it is a check, it should be photographed and saved. If it is a wire transfer, please take a screenshot on your phone. Regardless of the payment method, some relevant documents should be kept. If the salary is overdue, please speak up immediately.